So in today's video, we'll dive into the potential impact of the 2024 elections on our retirement accounts, tax policies, and how we can stay protected no matter the outcome. Hi everyone, I'm Star Tower, your financial fitness coach, here to empower you to become financially healthy and to live the life and retirement that you and your family deserve. Welcome to Wealthy Wednesdays, where I talk about concepts related to long-term wealth and financial planning. So with the uncertainty surrounding the elections that just occurred, as well as its outcome, I get asked a lot of questions by my clients about what they should do with their retirement savings, their financial planning, their finances, etc. So in today's video, we'll talk about how elections affect our financial fitness journey, our retirement savings, financial planning, etc. And we'll talk about how you can stay protected no matter what the outcome of the elections are. So many of our retirement savings, like 401ks, IRAs, and even Social Security, are impacted by the policies that the federal government sets. Things like contribution limits, tax advantages, and withdrawal rules can all be shaped by legislation. And guess what? Who we elect into the office can change the direction of these policies. So one of the biggest concerns around this year's elections was around tax policy. Harris basically supports increasing tax rates for wealthy individuals so that they pay their fair share of taxes. She supports extending the 2017 tax breaks to those making under $400,000 annually and supports increasing taxes for those making $400,000 or over. She also advocates increasing capital gains taxes to 28% for those making over $1 million. And then there's the controversial unrealized capital gains tax for those with over $100 million in wealth and assets. Basically, these wealthy individuals would get a minimum tax rate of 25% on their unrealized capital gains, meaning that the tax would hit taxable income plus unrealized gains, or the gains on appreciated assets that have not yet sold or been disposed of. And this is controversial because generally capital gains are taxed when the individual disposes or sells off their assets, and that's when they realize the gains on those assets. But this would be a tax on any appreciation of your assets while you're still holding onto them. On the other hand, former President Trump advocates tax breaks for everyone regardless of their income level, as well as tax reductions on tips and overtime pay. He supports a reduction in capital gains tax from 20% to 15%. Another huge election platform was around Social Security. There's concern that we will run out of Social Security funding in about 10 years, meaning that Americans retired during that time and after will have a significant reduction to their Social Security benefits or have none at all. I, for one, am not banking on having any Social Security benefits when I retire. So both candidates are in agreement that they want to keep Social Security benefits in place. Harris proposes that we keep our Social Security benefits funded by increasing taxes on individuals making over $400,000 so they pay their fair share of taxes accordingly. Trump, on the other hand, proposes ending taxes on Social Security benefits that 40% of retirees currently pay, so they have more access to their benefits. And he also wants to keep the retirement age at 67. So with all these complex and sometimes confusing proposals that both candidates are putting forth, you're probably wondering, how does this affect my retirement accounts and financial planning, and what should I do with them? Well, the thing to keep in mind is that while these candidates can propose their plans, it's another matter entirely whether these actually get passed once they get into office. Also, any proposal has to go through a lengthy checks and balance process before it becomes law, so it might take some time before it gets passed anyway. So focus on what you can control and put some financial fitness routines into place instead of being anxious and on edge around the outcome of the election. So here are some tips to help you do that. First off, live beneath your means. Living below your means is a foundational habit for financial resilience, especially during uncertain times. By keeping expenses lower than income, you can save and invest more, creating a financial cushion during times of economic uncertainty or policy changes. Cutting discretionary expenses and prioritizing needs over wants is a way to strengthen your financial security. So election outcomes have a smaller impact on your financial planning and retirement. Another tip is to stay the course. Keep working on financial fitness health and don't stop investing or working on long-term financial planning, regardless of which party comes into power. So it's normal that people feel anxious and nervous about how big events like the election or which party gets into office will affect S&P returns as well as their investments. But this is based on emotion rather than reality. So to help you manage that fear and uncertainty, I wanted to pull up a chart that looks at total S&P returns over a period of time during both election year and non-election years. So we start with 1957, which is when S&P had 500 companies in its portfolio, and we look at the span of time up to the current day, 2024. The bars highlighted in green are the election years, and the bars in gray are the non-election years. So beyond a few years where there were negative S&P 500 returns, such as 2002 with the dot-com bubble, 2008 with the financial crisis due to mortgage-backed securities, 2019 due to the COVID pandemic. So what pattern do we see here, or what pattern do we not see? Well, it seems that S&P 500 returns have been cyclical, regardless of whether it's an election year or a non-election year. So let's look at this from another angle. This chart, which I pulled from the Motley Fool website, basically shows S&P 500 returns from 1957 to 2024. and it breaks it down by which party was in office during that time. So similar to the chart from before, we can see that there's not really a pattern or correlation between S&P 500 returns and whatever party is in office during that time. For example, the S&P 500 has averaged strong returns under both Democrat and Republican presidencies, with average long-term annualized gains of approximately 10%, regardless of the party in control. So what we can see here is that the president or the party in power during that time has no direct control of the stock market. So to illustrate my point, take into consideration the dot-com bubble, the financial crisis in 2008, and the pandemic, which caused negative stock market returns. No president caused those events or were responsible for them, but these events caused stock market crashes. So while both parties claim that they're better for the stock market, investors should ignore such comments. I advise that you stay the course by maintaining investments aligned with your long-term goals. Keeping an eye on business fundamentals like revenue and earnings growth, as well as economic conditions, rather than political headlines, will help ensure that you have steady growth over time. Another tip is to diversify your investments. Having a mix of pre-tax like a 401k and post-tax like a Roth IRA retirement accounts allows you to be more flexible in managing your taxes during retirement. And if future tax laws change, which they inevitably will allow you to adapt, withdrawing from tax accounts that offer the most tax-efficient strategy for the given circumstances. Also, make sure you maximize your contributions. Whenever possible, contribute the maximum allowable amount to your retirement accounts. This practice ensures that you're taking full advantage of any employer matches and tax benefits while building a secure retirement foundation. And for those over 50, make sure you take advantage of the catch-up contributions as well. And finally, review your investments regularly and update them if needed to make sure they're still aligned with your long-term financial goals. Just as our goals can evolve, the financial landscape can also change with new policies, tax laws, or market changes. So check in with your plan regularly, whether it's quarterly, semi-annually, or annually, to make sure it's still in line with your long-term goals. And update it if needed to make sure that it's reflective of changing market conditions or reflective of any changing goals that you might have. This way, regardless of election outcomes, you'll have a proactive, flexible approach that keeps you on track in your financial fitness journey. So as a recap, no matter which way the election swings, being proactive by living below your means, staying the course by continuing to invest, diversifying your investments, maximizing your contribution, and staying updated by reviewing your investments and financial plan regularly is key to helping you stay on track in your financial fitness journey. So thank you for joining me today. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for future content on financial fitness. And let me know in the comments, how are you preparing for retirement in light of this year's elections? Until then, looking forward to continuing our financial fitness journey together, and see you in my next video.